Doesn't he gets them all. That's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. I did catch international wrestling. Which was a really good promotion. Yeah, just yes, they do. Thank you very much.
The one with the deck is
One of these?
Is that right?
And who's it to?
Bert, B-E-R-T.
There I go. I can fix that pretty easy.
No, these are not for sure.
B-U-R-D-E-R-T. What's your last name, Bert?
Hebert.
Hebert.
Yeah.
You want it on her?
No, yeah, it's good.
I was just wondering because I'm French Canadian. I was raised in a French Canadian family. Oh, okay. Right on.
But you have to know how much we appreciate your support of the hall. It's the first time anything like this has ever been done. You know, it's never, we never thought it would come off. We had so many people throughout the year say to us, hey, I'm going to start a Hall of Fame. I remember in Ocala Caves, Florida, somebody said, hey, do you have any of your jackets or shirts? You know, we're going to start a Hall of Fame. Say goodbye to that stuff. You know, people would sell it. And while we're flattered that they did that, there was really nothing anywhere in the world that we could reflect on that showed the dignity that we try to give this business and the believability that we tried to give it, and we used to protect it all the time. And it's working here because of you people, and that's the truth. I'm not patronizing you. You're already here. I mean, we could just say yes and no to questions, answer them, and leave. But we really, really, truly appreciate what you are doing for us, because we have great memories for the business. We have great memories. We have things that last forever. We got busted up bodies, every single one of us. You see us walking around, you can tell a guy that's been in the business. Every one of us, you know, including the referees, man. I mean, we're just, here's our friend Dick Worley, TV ref. He's your guy.
First thing I want to say, Tony Villano. We were here many years ago and this place was a dump. What this guy did with this place by himself is unbelievable.
Hey, just let me interrupt. When you guys don't wait for somebody to stop. If you got a question, just get his attention, because that's what it's about, answering anything you need to answer.
The next thing I want to say is, people ask me for an autograph or they hold their hand up, have a picture taken, they say thank you. It's us that should say thank you. I mean, I get sick and tired when I hear, well, thank you, thank you. I'm thanking these people, but you people have put us over many years. And sometimes I break down, like I'm getting ready to do right now, because I get very emotional. But like he says, this business years ago, oh my God, it's been fantastic. You meet guys like Ray here, who I thought was a bum. He turned out to be a real nice guy. And that's because of his wife. But we have such camaraderie, I tell you, it's just unbelievable. We might not see each other for 10 years, and it's just like we left each other yesterday. But it's a fantastic group. Now, anybody have a question?
Well, do you remember the first match you ever refereed?
Oh, God. Oh. It was the biggest mistake I made in the wrestling business. It was Andre the Giant. Well, no, the first match I did, it wasn't the first. That was Jimmy Valentine and Bruno Sammartino. He had just won the championship, '63.
Bruno was your first match?
That was my first match. I had no referee there in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I was the athletic director in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I did boxing. I was always in boxing in my life. So they called me up at my office in Scranton. Hey, you got to get down here. We need a referee because I referee boxing. So I said, geez, wrestling, are you kidding me? Get lost. I hung up. Then the commissioner got on. So he said, get your ass down here. So luckily, I had my outfit there in the room in my office. Rushed down there just in time to do Bruno, Jimmy Valentine. So now I'm saying, what the hell do I do? Hey, I have no idea, what do I do? And Bruno, who watched me in boxing, because he's a big boxing fan, said, dance around like you do in the boxing. Don't worry about it. I get in the ring, Valentine comes in, I walk over to him, I said, hey, I don't know anything about this business, what do I do? Stay out of my way, kid. That's his own brother. The match starts. He fires Bruno across the ring. I had to leap up over him. I said, he was a kid, get out of the way. Believe me, in this business, you know, we put a show on, but don't get hit by these guys. I mean, it's like getting hit with a sledgehammer. So anyhow, the ring ropes broke. Because he slammed Bruno on the floor and I heard a crack. I said, oh God, the ring is gonna go. So I whispered to Bruno, I said, Bruno, the ring is cracking. Don't worry about it. Boom, he smashes them down again. Now here comes all the corner posts in. I said, oh, Jesus. Now he's wrapping the ropes around Bruno's neck. And he's swinging them. I said, oh my God, what do I do? Disqualify. Hit the bell. Who's the winner? I says, I didn't even know the guy's name. That blonde-haired son of a bitch over there. Disqualified.
You still don't, it's Johnny Valentine, you goofball.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, back away.
I didn't want to correct him, but listen.
But then I had Andre the Giant in one of my very earliest matches, and I never knew that he was never pinned. But he goes down, I go down, and I'm quick. Boom. Sorry. I said, wait a minute, this can't be. I said, no, kid, don't hit the bell, keep going. His shoulder was up. Bruno, Gorilla Monsoon gets me to the dressing room after the match. He says, what the hell are you doing? This guy's never been pinned. Are you crazy? I said, well, I kept the match going, but nobody told me that. I said, I'm new. There's been a lot of crazy stuff in there. Any other questions?
Who else? No question is in it, not you. Where's your other, where's, Larry? Pretty boy Larry Sharp?
You know, everybody's had a bunch of injuries, and even referees. You know, can you tell us about some of your injuries?
I'll give you one big example. I think it was Ivan Putski. I forget who he was working with, but anyhow, Putski nails me from a rope-to-rope job. Hits me, I go right over the top rope. We had 4 cops at each corner. He comes rushing over, and I'm ready to do a somersault because I was a diver. He catches me around my waist, I go right down to the floor. My neck, I thought I broke it. They're trying to drag me back in the dressing room, and I said, oh, wait a minute, Jesus, I gotta finish this match. And I'm looking, I'm seeing stars, every color in the book. And I'm hanging onto the drape of the ring, and all of a sudden I heard boom. I just reached up with my hands like that. That was the end of the match. I made it. When I get into the dressing room, and I'm walking in there, and Monsoon says, oh my God, he said, are you okay? I said, I think I broke my neck. Don't worry about it. He gets a towel, put it around my neck, took my belt, put a hole in it, tightened that belt up, I was like this, I go look at my, he said, you can drive home, like 200 some miles. I'm driving down my country. But so many, oh God, we took so many bumps. I've been into at least the 3rd row from going over the top. Then a guy like Ric Flair. Rick says to me in a match in Baltimore, he says, hey, we're going to do a spot here. I said, yeah, what are we going to do? I'm going to get this guy in the corner and going to beat hell out of him. I said, well, okay. I said, so what do you want me to do? He pushed me back. 3rd time, he said, I'm going to hit you with the right hand.
early phone call.
I lost you, bum. So he comes in, and I'm pushing him back the 3rd time. He whipped the right hand, I went underneath. Hit him with a left, right. He goes right over the top rope. And he's looking up at me like this. He runs down and grabs the bell. Timekeeper's hammer comes racing in to hammer me with it. I'm ducking out of the ring. But injuries, every one of these guys are injured. I mean badly. New hips, new knees, new ankles. I had this shoulder here from hitting the floor so many times, it's bone to bone. Arthritis in the hands anymore. Knees are gone. After dancing around, I'm a guy that likes to be moving. Can't do it anymore. And then there's a guy that just asked me to do a show for him over in Nashville. I You gotta be kidding, what do you want me to do, crawl around and float? But, refereeing, you had to be a coordinator. I remember Hulk Hogan first came into business with us. Vince McMahon Senior come over to me and said, hey, we got a new kid. He said, you might have to talk him through the show. I said, okay, so I go over to the dressing room and I look at this guy, I said, holy Christ. I said, if he could tie his shoelaces, he's gonna be a hit. He was huge, long hair, everything. So I said to him, I said, you all set? He said, yeah, I'm a little nervous. We get in the ring and I'm talking, and to tell you the truth, I never thought he was a great wrestler. All he had was the arm and the leg. But what put him over so big is everybody has a gimmick. And his was, he'd go like this. Boy, and that crowd would go wild. Time to get off. Action.
My friend, Doink the Clown. And you know what? Just ask the questions, man. It's informal.
Fire away, it's your shot at me.
Yeah.
We're from Montreal, so
No,
yes. So
I couldn't tell.
yeah.
You thought the clown stuff was an act, huh?
No, but I'd be interested in having stories or your impression working with Dink, Tiger Jackson.
Sure.
So
Montreal, well, that was my first territory.
Oh yeah.
I worked for Grand Prix Wrestling
Oh yeah.
for Gino Brito and Dino Bravo.
Okay.
That was the first place I went when I left New York.
Okay.
Okay, and when I was there, they had a hell of a crew.
Yeah.
You know, they had Fafita, Tonga Fafita, Haku Ming, whatever you want to call them, and Frenchie Martin and Pierre Lafiffe and Tarzan Tyler, and Sailor White, and Ricky Martel.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good crew.
Yeah, we had
You know, and that's the first place I met Tiger Jackson.
Yeah. Okay.
Claude
Claude,
is
yeah.
his name, Giro. And years later, I would just run into him in the shows in different areas, and when I was in Puerto Rico, and I was in different places. And then when I became the Clown, Vince McMahon decided I needed a little sidekick. And that's how, if you remember, he was given to me as a Christmas present.
Yeah.
In a box. And from then on in, it was none looking back. Any place you saw me, you saw Tiger. But he was fun to be around. I played a lot of ribs on him.
Yeah, well, I heard stories about ribs down there a lot.
Well, most of them aren't true. Just a couple I did. Because you know me. Have I ever played ribs on anybody?
Oh,
Who's
He's on
next?
guard all the time.
What's your favorite match that you've done?
My favorite match? God, that's pretty tough. You know, it's tough to say favorite match because,
Or most memorable?
well, most memorable? The first time I wrestled in Madison Square Garden. Because everybody who's ever in this business wants to be in Madison Square Garden. Anybody that plays baseball wants to play where? The stadium. You know, so that is my first, you know, the garden match. Your first garden match is definitely memorable. I mean, there was the Tokyo Egg Dome, which wasn't a bad spot. The Houston Astrodome had a few folks in it. But, you know, if you're saying my most, you know, I mean, the Montreal Forum had, there's a little hit. The Boston Garden, when you walked out and saw all those pennants of all the guys, there was a few decent guys that were here before you. You know, when you're standing in the back of the garden and you see Willis Reed, Muhammad Ali, Frank Sinatra, Bruno Sammartino, oh boy, it was, these guys weren't too bad, huh? Oh, and I gotta go out there? Jesus, okay. Hope I know what to do. It's a humbling moment, to say the least. You know, I mean, as far as what guys did I ever work with, and I don't mean this as being a smart guy, but you know, when I first started in the business, there was no cell phones, no pagers. You had a payphone.
No GPS.
that was back in 1930.
Yeah. Now, my father and my grandfather were big wrestling fans, and they loved Bruno, of course, you know. And I would get out of the match, and I'd run over to the payphone and call my old man and tell him who I just got done wrestling and where it was. And half the time, he didn't believe me. He thought I was just bullshitting, you know. And I got out of the ring one night, and I call him up, and I wrestled Dominic, who I used to go watch, who I thought the world of. And forget about it, because he's from a very close part of Italy where my family's from. And I said to him, Dad, I just wrestled Dominic DeNucci. He says, yeah, and I'm playing cards with Joe DiMaggio. He don't believe me. I says, Pop, I wrestled. He says, you've been drinking. Hang up the phone, I'll see you when you come home. He didn't believe me. You know, and I was in Puerto Rico, I'm wrestling Pedro Morales. I said, I wrestled Pedro Morales tonight. Oh, you're back in the bar again, aren't you? I said, Pop, I wrestled Pedro in a Bayamon baseball stadium. He didn't believe me. Finally, he came to the Embassy Theater in North Bergen, New Jersey. I wrestled Bulldog Brower. And he earned my money that night, too. And he believed me, you know? So, next. Go ahead.
I mean, you did a fine job, but I'm just curious. So what happened with, how did you get the call after when the Matt Bourne, whatever, wasn't happy? What happened with that?
Well, I got the call from Vince McMahon when Matt Bourne got fired.
Oh, okay.
And he offered me the job. He said, I'd like to give you a dark match, which is one you like a tryout. And I went out and did one, and he handed me a uniform and a booking sheet and plane tickets and said, go.
That's simple? Okay.
Yeah, well, he's the boss.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that simple.
Okay. I'm just curious about the Matt Bourne.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? I spent a lot of years in this business from 1971, and not a whole lot impresses some of us. Professional wrestling royalty. I'm not being corny. This is as respectful as I can get. Just came in here. Nick Bockwinkel, Danny Hawk. These guys, the people that were in the business, were the real deal. I'm telling you, if there's anybody that ever, with 4 more evers attached to that, lent dignity and credibility to this business. And I'm not eliminating my other friends here, but these 2 guys did it, and still do it, and will always do it. So, if you're really lucky, you're going to get to ask them a couple of questions.
Nice.
But unless you have any more for the my friend Ray, the clown, I'm going to ask Dominic DiNucci to stand up here. And maybe you have some questions for Dominic also. Don't be bashful now.
Well, let me use the microphone.
There's no microphone out there.
Well, there's a stick here. But anyway, I can.
And if you don't want to put pressure on the guys to make their own little speech, just start asking some questions. That's what you're here for. You know, you want to know. I mean, there's a history in this wrestling business with Dominic and Nick and Danny. I mean, there's a history here that's unbelievable. And for guys that came in like some of us did, we're in awe of being around these guys, especially when they look like that. But anyway, just ask it, man. Just do it.
Ask anything you want. But first I'm going to tell you. And then you ask the question. I can fault Dave and that little bald head guy because if they speak English, I can't. But I make it clear as possible so you can understand. My life was a little different than these people because I come from another country. But I came in at 18 years old. I came into Canada after the war. And I wrestled amateur for 7 years, and then I turned into professional with the help of Tony Lance and the Gordon Bear in Canada. But I did wrestle in Calgary for Stu Hart in the 60 and 61. And then from Calgary, I moved to San Francisco. That's where I met my name with the Ray Stevens at the Court Palace. When we talk about the building, like the New York, I started from San Francisco. And I spent almost 2 years in San Francisco, and then I left and go to Australia. And I spent a year and a half in Australia. Me and Killer Kowalski. From Australia, I come back to San Francisco and then go to Japan. And back in San Francisco and back in Australia. Bruno Sammartino came in Australia, and he said to me, why don't you come to New York? I said, I don't know, I've been doing good in the West Coast and Japan. He said, no, you should come to New York. So 1969, I came into New York for Mr. McMahon in Washington, D.C. I worked a couple of years, and then I got fired in New York. And I left New York.
Again.
Again. But I worked about a year and a half there. The first show at the New Garden, then I got fired. I'm not going to tell you why, because it's too embarrassment to do. But
I want to know why.
You shut up. But anyway, I left New York, and I go back into Japan, and then I go to Buffalo, New York. So Pedro Martinez, you people should know the name. Buffalo and Syracuse, Utica, and Rochester, and Cleveland, and Akron, whatever. I spent 17, 18 months there. And then I go to Florida with Tony Parisa. We wrestled for the belt there, and we were there for 6, 7 months. Then it was a Bruno birthday, and they're going to keep a birthday at the Parsippany, New Jersey, Angelo Savoldi and all the kids. And I just got back from Japan, and I remember it was November the 15th, and they said, why don't you come with me in Parsippany? I said, I don't want to see anybody up there. No, he said, you should come. So we flew up there, and Vince McMahon, rest in peace, we were watching football, the captain and some of the other guy there. And Vince McMahon, the father, came in, and he said to me, he touched me on the shoulder, and he said, I was Japan. I said, it's wonderful. I spent 6 weeks there. I said, the business is good. And he said to me, you're going to go to Florida, I know that. I said, yes, I'm leaving this week. And he said, when you finish in Florida, you come back home. And he turned around and left. I didn't have the chance to say nothing. I wouldn't say anything. I said, thank you. And I come back in New York, and then I spent 11 years.
We used to call it homestead.
But that's only part of the whole thing. If I have to tell everything where I've been and what I did, who I wrestled, I have to be there all day, all night, because I wrestle everywhere, and I wrestle. He was, this gentleman here, Nick, we wrestled so many times, sometimes 1 hour. That thing, he never gave up. Young man who never give up. Danny Hodge, I don't know if I wrestled with him once, but I know his reputation. We were in Japan together, and it was my first time I met him, and he, I guess everybody knows, he take an apple and he squeezed and the juice coming out. The Japanese was going crazy, and that was another fake, man. You still can do today. That's a fact, you can ask him. But anyway, was a good life for me. But now, I want you people to ask me a question. If I know, I will answer you. I will not lie to you. If I know, I'll answer you. If not, I don't know. You know. Are you?
Yeah, next year, could you bring an interpreter so everybody can
Sit on your butt there.
Go ahead, you had a question for Donald.
Well, yeah, you trained Mick Foley.
Yes.
Did you ever thought he would be making it as big as he did?
I did have 2 boys, Mick Foley and Shane Douglas. Okay? And they were, one time I got 18 men to train. Okay? And they were the 2 best ones. How do you figure the 2 best ones? If I tell you, how do you do this thing, they will do it right away. Another guy, you have to tell him 10 times.
Yeah.
And I knew, and the way Mickey was driving from the college and the east of Syracuse and coming to Pennsylvania, you have to have some guts to do that on winter time. And I know he was thinking he's going to do it. He's going to make it. He did, you know. Shane Douglas was a little different. All college graduate. Shane Douglas, a school teacher. But Mickey didn't take care of his body. And I told him the last time I saw him, in Las Vegas. He walked worse than me, and he's 48 years old. I'm 90. And I walk better than him, you know. But that's, yes, I knew he gonna make it, you know.
Thank you.
And shame too, you know. Now, it's not what you make, it's what you see. Okay? Troy did a lot of money. That's his real name, Troy Martin. And I know his father died a couple of years ago, and the mama just died this year. I knew him with all the family and the kids and everybody else. He was a different thing. Now, I'm not going to say a different thing because he was not smart, but he was smart stupid because he took the drugs. Okay? And then he lost the school teaching, and he lost the job, and then he lost other things with his big man and with everybody else. But it's not nice to say, but what I'm saying, if you want to do something, you don't have to use the drugs to do what you have to do. I didn't know the drug what it was until 1975 when Billy Graham was taking the stereo. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a pill for the headache. But that's, you know, that's me.
See, you know what, folks, let me tell you something. These guys right here, Larry, they don't give themselves enough credit. Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of us started out as fans of this business. And all of us, you know, especially some of these guys, were doing this before there was such big media and communication extravaganza and all that stuff. So, you know, just suspend time for a second and think of what excitement was. Excitement was the Cow Palace in San Francisco with Dominic DeNucci and Ray Stevens selling that place out. All right? That was excitement. Excitement was in the Met Center in Minnesota with Dick Bockwinkel and Vern Gagne. 20,000 people, man. Before there was cable and all that stuff. Danny Hodge in Tulsa, where there's not a whole lot of public transportation, selling that place out years ago with Angelo Savoldi.
People would drive 400 miles to go to a match.
Yeah, I mean, this,
It's true.
Ray Apollo in WrestleMania. You know, millions of people watching. Larry Sharp selling out in the Roberto Clemente Stadium in Puerto Rico with Carlos Colon. I'm going to tell you something, man. That was a big deal in our business. These guys were big deals. They really were. And it's hard, and you can see it with my friend Dominic, to get up and talk about yourself, although wrestlers love to do that. Wrestlers love to do that.
So do
and they
referees.
love to hear you, yeah, they love to hear you ask the questions. So don't be bashful with your questions. It's going to be easier if you ask the questions for these guys and let them think about giving you an answer and giving you a memory, because we love the memories,
Okay,
okay?
why?
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Dominic, could you give us an experience of what it was like traveling on the road, how many matches a week, and what effect would it have on a wrestler's home life?
Ah, very nice question. Now, if you're a single guy, man or woman, okay, you have no responsibility, anything, you can sleep anywhere, in the car, and you travel every day, and sometimes you wrestle 7 days a week. Now, if you have a family and you have young kids, you're not going to see them. And some problems start, and like I know a lot of the people, that's what happened. But you can't blame her or him, because that was the job. They go in Japan and they spend 6 weeks, you don't see the family. Now, let's put it this way. We have the man and the woman in the war in Iraq and everywhere else, and they never come home. And they're lucky to come home to defend the country, okay? Because I was in that country in the war, okay? See what, I know what it is. And when you wrestle, and every day, and every night, and then you travel by car, and that time most of our car. My car, I keep it 1.5 years because I put 100,000 miles on. I have it in my book. All of the trip I made on a plane, I don't know how many million miles I got. I have to figure out. And the car too. You drive 100,000 miles in 1 year, man. If you work in Texas, you drive 4,000 miles a week. You know, it's very hard. It's very hard for the family. It's very hard for your body. Plus, when you're young, you're okay. But then when you start to be old like me, then you remember all the bad things you did. I was man and everything else. You know, so I'm going to tell you one more thing and then I quit. Right?
Sure.
Oh, shut up, will you? And in my life, late in 86, 85, 86, and 87, I made the tour in Africa, West Africa, Arabia, the Philippines, Italy. Rome was the first one. I put the restaurant in Rome at the Colosseum because that was controlled by the government and they were all damn communists and you couldn't go in. But then the cable came in and the idiot it started changing, you know, up and up everywhere else. But we wrestled in Africa. It was a name of a town called Al Faso. We draw 65,000 people. In the Philippines, we wrestle Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We draw 110,000 people in the same building. You can sit 35 every night. Okay? A lot of the things you do, pleasure, not you make the money. You want to do that because you work. You want to be paid for that. But that's so you're proud to do in the front of all these people in different countries. And I did that. The only place I've been in my life, South America and Russia. The rest I did everything you can think about, I was there. So I was lucky, really. For a guy with me, I can't speak English, but I speak 3 or 4 different languages. Okay. But anyway, that's my story. So thank you very much.
So Danny Hodge. Unbelievable man right here. Ouch, Danny.
Don't give me that crap, we shook hands.
I had a lot of good times with that hand.
You know, what a pleasure it is for me to come up here and wrestle. I started wrestling in 1959 professionally, and I had no idea what I was getting into. But I knew I loved wrestling, and I went through college undefeated, never taken down. So I thought I could wrestle a little bit. And then I went through boxing as heavyweight, won the regional Wichita, Kansas, tournament champions in Chicago, the nationals in Madison Square Garden, never losing there. So I knew I could either wrestle or I could fight a little bit. And then I got off into professional boxing, had 10 fights, won 8 of those, never got paid. And I said, I can get all the fights I want in Perry, Oklahoma for nothing. I don't have to train near as hard. And so then I went into professional wrestling, and in 3 months I was world junior heavyweight champion. Where do you go from there? Angelo Savoldi was such a great friend. My first match, he tied me in the ropes and gave me some kicks. I had to go to the hospital. Second time come back, I'm not proud that he had me tied back in the ropes and he was starting to kick me again. And my father got in the ring and cut Angelo on my shoulder and back with a knife. And the time I get out of that, I don't see any of this happening. And I get down and I see about 6 people on top of my dad, and all I could see is just his face. And one of the boys went around and kicked him in the face. I said, "No, that's my dad. He's going to kick him anyway," and I knocked him out through the ropes. So it was a shoot. And so now, where do you go from there? I win a championship, and I'm traveling all over the country, and my wife is sharing me with the world. and we had such long trips in Oklahoma. But I enjoyed every night. Great fans. And so when I wrestled, and probably I wanted to made the Olympics and went to Helsinki, Finland, and got to go down to Stockholm, Sweden, and got fourth there. And made the Olympics in 56. That was 52. 56, I made the Olympics in both freestyle and Greco. And I let Jim Peckham, boy from Boston, always wrestled to AAU tournaments, and I liked him, but not on the mat. And I gave him the Greco position in 56 so he could go to Australia, Melbourne. So, like I said, wrestling has been my life, and it still is. And I see faces that I've worked with, great people took care of me. Like I say, being a young man, I was energetic, and I was wanting to see the world. And through wrestling, I have got to go around the world 44 times. Went to Japan maybe 37 times. One karimata, do you understand?
Karimasu.
So
this name.
But you go into other countries and you try to learn a little bit of language to communicate with the kids and the fans, and it makes you special. And I guess Japan was probably my favorite country. I would like to have gone back to Australia from the Olympics, but I didn't know the promoter wrestling down there in those days, so I didn't get to go back down there. But I did get to take the wife with me to Japan for, I think it was 5 days. I went over for a week to wrestle, but it's not a ladies' world. I get over there, now they want me to come to the Gojo and show holds, and Billy Robinson was there, and they want to see Billy and I wrestle, and of course Billy had knees and he couldn't go, so we locked up, and he headlocked me, and I spun out a hammerlock. He hammerlocked me, and I come back overhead wrist lock, and then they stopped it. So that was our match in front of all the Japanese fans. But I got to come along in the era that was so great, and the guys were so good to me. And like I said, if we went there to wrestle, if we didn't wrestle, we would have hopes. I was going to wrestle, and I want you to get out. If you didn't get out, then you got squeezed a little. You would get out. Right, Nick? So, but this has been my life, and you kids is what's keeping our life going now. I can't thank Tony
Well,
enough.
the boss just gave me the cue. So we still have, and you know what I failed to mention, man? This gentleman is one of the, if not the finest amateur wrestler that our country ever produced. Nobody, but nobody, could stay with Danny Hodge. Talk about the real deal, man.
Still today.
This is it. You saw him on TV. Well, we saw him too, but we were more nervous than you were when we saw him. But anyway, if you have any questions, and Tony just gave me a heads up because we got the other thing going on over there. So I still got Nick Bockwinkel here and Larry Sharp here. If you have some questions, please just informalize it a little bit. Don't be bashful. These guys will answer your questions. They're regular people, they're good people, and no question is too inane. All right, just ask them. If there's something you want to know, here he is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one for Danny. Was there ever a moment in the ring where you like felt the strength of your opponent and said, "Oh, well, maybe I have a match, or I have somebody that can give you a little"? Or was there never a moment where you felt
I
the
had
opponent's strength?
a very great
We
motion
gotta know,
fan.
because that other thing's one is
They
great.
shot in and
Yeah.
was going to push me around. And it ended up turning around the other way, and then it was nice from then on. One time that they didn't think I could fight, and I returned the tater, maybe a little better than I received. And in fact, there was two. One in the stomach, one in the chin. And the stomach was the third button, no air. So, like I said, I've done it all. And I don't know how any of you even would work with me.
I wouldn't want to work with you.
But, this was a pleasure, though, to see you young men come up and respect our business.
Listen, at the risk of being rude, Tony just told me that the meet and greet, and we got to be over there. And Nikki is here, and I'm sure during the course of the day, if you have anything to say to Mr. Bachwinkler or Larry Sharp, do it. Like I said, they're truly, truly good people, and they are the best representative of our business ever. So, unfortunately, our timing is new. There's some growing pains, all right, and we're not moving things the way we should. But we got to get over and sign some autographs. Thank you so much again, and my apologies to Larry.
I got one question for Dick Worley real quick.
Uh-oh.
Back in the day, how did they light the rings up before electricity?
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
reason why, and it's rightly deserved for these wrestlers, it's been a long time that before they were able to have a Hall of Fame. And now that they have one, it's so nice for them to be honored. I want to, before I start the agenda here, I have a personal award I want to give to a family that was with us from day one. When I started this thing, I didn't think anybody would come, but here they came. When I went to go do our first autograph session, he's first in line. When I go to Jersey, Long Island, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, wherever the hell, Toronto, wherever the hell we go and have these dinners, they're always there. They're leaving, and they're going to Florida. And selfishly, they dropped off all their stuff at the hall that they could and give it to us unselfishly, about $1,000 worth of frames alone. I'd like you to give recognition to the family I want to give recognition to, the Magnata family. So
Dr. David Greg would tell you, he's got no trouble doing this. So Greg Oliver, my friend.
It's my privilege to talk about two of the Pioneer inductees this year. And in the cheap plug category, Steve Johnson and I are both having both these gentlemen in our next book, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, The Icons. And there's going to be way more information than you ever thought existed on these guys. Our first inductee is Hebert Marshall. He grew up in La Junta, Colorado, and his name was Everett Olden Marshall. And he did the usual things that boys did. Played football, helped around the family farm, and wrestled bears. He had a pet bear named Gotch, and it was named after somebody named Frank Gotch. Just loved, he had great big huge forearms and biceps, you can see the example here. And he used a wooden dummy with a spring-loaded head, and that's how he practiced his full Nelson holds. But in 1940, he just stopped wrestling, and he was only 35 years old. He'd done so much in a short amount of time. But like a lot of guys, whether it's Terry Funk or Wherever Boys Ranch, a place for troubled youth not far from his own ranch, and to this day, the organization's highest honor is called the Everett Marshall Distinguished Service Award. He died in February 1973. He was 67 years old. And today he joins many of his peers, including great Jim Londas, in the Pioneer section of the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Everett Marshall. At 37, he left football for good, and he got so much better at the wrestling that soon enough, in 1939 and 1940, he was recognized as the world champion. After wrestling for a number more years after that, including many years part-time, he retired in 1960.
Thank you so much. If Bronco was here today, he would be thrilled at this wonderful honor that has been bestowed on him. I would love to extend my sincere thanks to the wrestling family. I didn't grow up in this world. I don't know this world. But you all have been so gracious to me this weekend and made me really feel a part of your wonderful family. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Across the ring, I was just looking at him, and he attacked me, took me down. The next thing I know, a riot broke out. Because believe it or not, I was sweet looking at the time for 20, 25 years. And the people never got tired because he was the most exciting, the most charismatic, the most dangerous. When I say dangerous, and called him the fireman, he threw a ball of fire across the ring at me. He had done it before. While I ran into it, the fire encompassed my head. This is showing on YouTube. It encompassed my head. He burned my eyebrows off. He burned part of my hair off. He burned the side of my face, and the next day on TV, I was peeling the skin off of my face. And he became my nemesis from that time on. So tonight, Assalamu alaikum, my friend, my nemesis. This is long overdue. Tony, and thank you for establishing a wonderful and creating a wonderful atmosphere for the wrestlers of the past and the future, of course. But the Sheik, he was the Habib. He was the real deal. Some people used to say, well, his name is Eddie Farhat, and I refuse to believe that that was his full name, because he was the Sheik. He was a Syrian, Lebanese. He spoke Arabic, and he was the real deal. He wasn't a made-up character. He was 24 hours a day, the Sheik. So it's my honor, brother, to induct you into the Hall of Fame. You were well deserved. And I think everyone that's watched him through the years, he gave his full, no trials and tribulations, his full everything, every night. He was on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd just like to reiterate what has been said earlier about Tony Vellano. I think what he's done here started in Schenectady and is now in Amsterdam. A pro wrestling hall of fame that we can call home. I go up and down the thruway a lot. Give it a couple of toots when I pass Amsterdam. Dick the Bruiser. 1955, in the fall of 55, I went to Chicago. Tickle was attacked. That's all he said. It was one tickle, get it again. Dick was a great person in the ring. He was always in shape. He was a good person out of the ring. He did a lot of things in his life. And one of the good things he did was he treated the wrestlers that worked for him, not against him. He was in the ring, he was stiff. Anyway, it's a great honor that I'm here tonight to present Dick the Bruiser, Dick Athalis, with a Hall of Fame ring.
Tonight is a special night for me because they called me up and asked me to accept Vince McMahon's induction into the Hall of Fame. He was one of the greatest men in the world. He's been kind to all of his wrestlers. He's been kind to me. I'm 88 years old, and I'm still in the ring. But you know, treated me with great respect, and he has always taken care of me, and I just can't say enough about what a wonderful person he is. Stephanie is my baby, and of course, Linda, she's a wonderful lady. I don't know how the man could get such a wonderful family. As Shane and Linda and Stephanie. And then, of course, Stephanie is married to Lace. And he's got 3 daughters, and Shane's got 3 daughters. I mean, got 3 sons, I'm sorry. But anyway, I am so happy tonight just to be honored to have the privilege of putting Vince McMahon into the Hall of Fame, because he certainly deserves it. He gets irritated and upset if somebody talks nice about him. If you say something on the TV about him, he gets upset. But he is a wonderful, wonderful man. and he takes care of his talent. And I am happy to work for him, still on his payroll, plan on working for him until I'm 100 years old, and over a whole time. I wouldn't be here. All you wrestling fans, I am so proud to have been able to work for you and wrestle and see you in and out of the ring, knowing that you are devoted to the wrestling world, because that's my life, the wrestling world. Ed Strangler told me one time when I started wrestling, he said, I don't like women wrestling, because there was only 4 of us. There was Mildred Burke, and myself, and Gladys Killigill, and Mae Weston. We opened up the whole United States and all the foreign countries for women wrestling, because there was a lot of places didn't deserve women except women wrestling. But Ed Strangler told me, he said, well, Johnny May, he said, I'll tell you. He said, I don't like women wrestlers, but if there was ever one born to be a wrestler, you're it. And I appreciate that coming from Ed Strangler. And I appreciate being here with you folks tonight. So God bless you, and I'll see you later.
For Jerry Lawler.
Well, I'm sure everybody knows who Jerry the King Lawler was. And to me, when wrestling was pretty quiet, and as far as wrestling with him in the ring, I'll give you a little story. I have an autograph session to do in Albany, New York. And once again, Jerry Lawler was right there. And it's a live pay-per-view show. So there's no fix it, do it later, we'll come back and cut it and put it on the editing room floor. He was there for it, and it was a successful match. So it's my honor to induct a real pro, Jerry the King Lawler.
Because the first thing that goes is our short-term memory, and we can remember the long things way back. And you can have those little special eye contacts, things that, you know, that you said, and when it comes up again, you can look at the person and say, well, you remember that, don't you? Because we have our memories. And so if she was here today, she would say, thanks for the memories. And so today I induct the fabulous Barefoot Contessa, Judy Grable.
Paul Butcher Vachon, another one of my kids.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you very much. It's always nice to be surrounded only by friends like I am around here. I know everybody has done this before me tonight, but once again, I'd like to show our appreciation to who became a friend of mine since the beginning of this thing, and that's, once again, please, folks, let's hear my friend Tony Milano. It makes me very proud today, folks, to be able to do the induction into this Hall of Fame. All of my brothers and myself, we all learned our wrestling at the Central YMCA in Montreal. We were taught by a guy named Frank Saxon. They called him a fellow inductee in the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, my friend Billy Robinson. I'll say a few words. Bye-bye. Okay. 1962 it was, and I went to India. And in those days, you couldn't get a steak. Beef wasn't allowed on the menu. It was a dry steak. I didn't drink in those days, but I made it for since. But I go to this restaurant, the only one in Bombay where you could get a steak. And country western music that just comes from England, I mean to England. And on the stage was a gentleman singing country western music. A big guy, nice guy, you know. So I introduced myself to him afterwards. He said, "Oh, I've got a pretty tough brother too." He said, "I said, who's that?" He said, "My dog was Sean." It was Paul singing on the stage. And he's a great singer. Just a really great guy. We became close friends from that time on. I'm not going to take too much of your time up here, but because most of you don't speak English like me. Anyway, I want to thank everybody concerned for the honor of accepting these things. I'd just like to add one thing that is sometimes forgotten, is that the only magazines in the world at one time was the Ring magazine. Was very little known about a lot of wrestlers that's passed away hundreds of years ago, names that have been well forgotten. And they could have been the greatest of all time for who knows. There's been great wrestlers out there, unfortunately, have been forgotten. So I'm not just accepting this for me, I'm accepting this for all the great wrestlers of all time. Thank you very much.
We're going to see him wrestle Bruno Sammartino. And I'm going to tell you what excitement is, people. Excitement is, we call him Uncle Ivan, the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud and honored to get the invitation to introduce such a great young man. The day of January 18, 1970 crowd in a big uproar. One of the great wrestlers. In 1989, Ted Turner, Shorty, North Carolina Promotions.
Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly an honor to be here tonight and to accept Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the legitimate Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the one and only. And I thank everybody together in honor of all us old-timers, and I guess any of us are all old-timers anymore. We're not involved anymore in the wrestling too much, but it'll never leave our hearts, right? Once it's there, you know, it's and I appreciate it so much, Danny, just to have the honor of having you come up and even mention my name. You know, I met Danny in Japan in '67, and man, I had heard so much about Danny and how great of a wrestler he was, and ended up wanting to test him, you know, just in some way, but I was a wrestler. I mean, I was just a big old farm boy, and I just, about 300 pounds, and I says,
we always did some Indian wrestling, my brothers and I, 10 kids in the family, and man, I noticed that gang was dancing around there, and I was really trying to put them down, and I couldn't punch them. So I knew he had a great gift for wrestling, and never ever questioned it in all the years, and indeed it showed, like a lot of the great wrestlers of today. I am honored. I never considered myself a great wrestler per se. I was just very fortunate to be a high-paid job guy, I guess, and be there at the right time, in between the championships, right? I'm telling you the truth. You know, I've talked to you here tonight, my beautiful wife, Renee, and I am so grateful. The Lord has been patient with me and gracious throughout the years of wrestling, and a lot of guys have testified to this fact that wrestling takes us all down a different road, and some of us are on down the same road. With myself, to speak, I can speak attest to this, the drugs and the alcohol took me down to the gutter of life, and I found myself many times wondering, what am I doing? Going around carrying a gun in my car, on drugs and selling the stuff and all this. So I'm so happy to find out after all these years of being so gracious, God was so gracious to allow things like in the business, not only to meet guys like Jacques Rougeau when I was over there in Japan with Danny, and Jacques Rougeau being the promoter of Johnny Rougeau in Montreal, thought of me as being a talent in the business, and he wanted me to come to Montreal, and from there to New York. And yes, as mentioned a minute ago, I had the privilege of winning the WWF belt, I guess Bruno Sammartino. What an honor. Can you imagine wrestling your hero in Madison Square Garden, the sellout crowd, and then to find out after the 1, 2, 3, the referee won't raise your hand? You won't raise your hand, he won't give you the belt. I said, what's a belt? Well, raise my hand, This is my moment of glory here. He said, go back to the dressing room again. Go back to the dressing room. It was scary. It was really scary, right, David? Matter of fact, it was so scary that after that, Captain Lou and I went down to the basement to catch our cab. They always put the main event on halfway through the show. The people were waiting for us when they opened that door up. They just want to upset the cab. We were saying, step out to the cab driver. Show us how the New Yorkers drive. Come on, get ready. But it was great. It was great. What an honor to have been able to be in the business all these years, and never ever being known as a great wrestler, just a guy that really enjoyed the business of dream come true from 8 years old, seeing it on television, watching some of my heroes of the past, and falling in love with it and wanting to be a wrestler, and to end up being here tonight. Man, it's enough to choke anybody up. Gives me goosebumps just to think about it. How good God is, just to be part of this. And to see a place that's full and really honoring the old timers of the business, and just saying that thank you for, I've never been involved in anything like this in my life, and to me this is truly an honor for the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame to be organized and kept up today. And I toured it with my wife the other day, and ended up taking us over there, making sure we went up and looked at it. I was astonished with all the exhibits and everything. If you haven't went over to it, please do, man. You're missing something. It's great. I'm hoping to find some stuff at home to add to it on my end, but I'm just honored, really honored to receive this, not just a plaque or ring type thing, but the recognition of the True Wrestling Hall of Fame. Thank you all so much.
Nick Bachman.
I grew up in a wrestling family, my father before me, and so you might say I kind of had a very strict policy where he had me grow up. So whatever he told me, I had to always listen to him, and sometimes it had a double meaning.
And when the age of the bodybuilders and the weightlifters came in, they pushed not just the wrestling or the weightlifting, but they just brought another dimension to something that was already taking place. And they were the first, as far as I'm concerned, that they changed a little bit of the landscape. And it was, a lot of them probably felt that I was on the very strict philosophy of wrestling ability. And and of course, at the same time, knowing what it meant to have a good manager, because I had Bobby Heenan basically as his partner. And this gentleman right here, Mr. Paul Edelman, was the manager of the Road Warriors, and very deservedly so.
There you go.
First of all, Nick, thank you very much. Kind words. You never, ever have to apologize to Hawk and I or Paul, my lord. We apologize to you about 1,000 times for all the potatoes we gave to Nick, unfortunately. Nick was a consummate champion, I'll make that loud and clear. Probably the best world champion I had ever had the pleasure of being ring. A young man full of a lot of piss and vinegar in this business like we all were in the beginning. I think maybe Hawk and I were full probably just a little bit more for some odd reason. You know, Paul taught us a clear lesson right at the very beginning. This business is like infancy. It's like childhood growing up. First you come into this business, you're an infant. And a clear example of that is when we were an infant, was when Hawk and I got called up by Ollie Anderson to come down and join Georgia Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley. You know, we're trying to keep cool, you know, but inside we're going, yeah, man, right here. We're going to Georgia Championship Wrestling, man. You know, and being fans, I can talk about the consummate fan of wrestling. I am in the room here with some of my idols. Ivan, I watched the USA Network. Are you kidding? The Russian bear? What to kill you? Wrestling 1,000 times, you get it down after a while. Yeah, I'm looking away, kind of like Russian, you know. And Nick Bockwinkel, the AWA World Heavyweight Champion. I lived in Minneapolis. You kidding me? Every Saturday and Sunday, I saw Nick Bockwinkel, who my partner Hawk, God rest his soul, finally named him corporate man because Nick is so corporate all the time. He's great that way. But you know, but it's an infant stage. When you first come in there as an infant, not knowing what's going on, then you learn to crawl a little bit. And then when you think you're getting ready to run, you get grabbed on the back of your tights by Stan Hansen and says, "Listen, we can't take your lockups anymore. Come here." He goes, "For me to teach you how to lock up, now that's something. You guys are stiff." And you know, and everybody knows Stan Hansen well. That Cowboy's, you know, 3 quarters all the way blind, and when he hits you that lariat, it hurts. So that was part of our walking stage in the wrestling business. And then when we earned, and I say this humbly, earned the respect of the promotion and the boys, and then you get a chance to have some titles, and you know, we actually took pride in those. Man, the belts are work, we all know that. But it was to put money in our brothers' pockets, because this is a fraternity. We were sure proud to be able to do that for everybody's sake. But it wasn't just about us, it was about everybody, and I just want to make that loud and clear.
What a great honor it is to be here with all of my heroes. I got Billy Robinson there, the guy that put the new design on a new pretzel. I mean, whichever way you could turn me, you did it, Billy. God bless him. And Nick,
it brings tears to my eye, the most sagacious man in all of wrestling. And we stand here humble and proud to be here with you guys. Because, you know, we got a paycheck, but the bottom line was we went into the ring every night and we worked for pride. And our pride was our signature. And the Road Warriors came along when the business was changing. You know, cable was spreading across the country, and it was an industry in growth. And they came along, and they had a, if I can borrow moxie about them. You know, they had charisma. They opened another chapter for wrestling, the Road Warriors did. I was just a jockey that rode the horse. And I'm a very lucky guy because I was also able to run the Iditarod 3 times, and I rode the dog sled. But the dogs did all the work. Animal and Hawk, they did all the work. But I was the jockey. I rode the horse, and I rode the dogs. And I got to the finish line every time. And there's a few things that are similar between wrestling and the dogs. And I learned that real quick because I learned that in wrestling, the louder you talk, the more attention you get. Well, it's the same with the dogs. The louder you yell, the faster they go. And then I also learned, okay, we got the dogs here. I never trust Animal or Hawk to guard my food. I don't trust the dogs to guard my food either. And take it away, buddy.
Well, one person I'd like to thank and never forget is my partner Hawk. I think you pretty much put a stamp on, and hopefully in a respectful way in tag team wrestling, because that was our art, or what we love to do. We got asked many times by Vince and other promoters to wrestle each other. We absolutely flat out refused that we're not doing that. That's wrong, it's dumb, it's stupid. Just our opinion, which we gave quite often, sometimes good, sometimes not. But we always wanted to say that we always appreciated the guys, the boys, the brotherhood, the guys we were in the ring with. You gentlemen here today, and the gentlemen that are no longer with us today, that pounded this pavement. Sometimes when it was $50 and a 6-pack of beer for your payoff, you know, which gave us the opportunity to get in this business and enjoy the fruit of our labor, man. And we cannot express our thanks and gratitude to enough to some of you guys who are still here today and the guys that are no longer with us. I'd like to give you guys a big hand for that.
I wrote this, and I got to read it because every word is measured. Wrestling legends never die. They just fade away. They fade away into memories where they are forever young. Here's to you, my friends.
We do like it. Don't ever be afraid to approach one of these people that have been in this business, because no matter how busy they look, or how much they want you to maybe think, if they don't want to be bothered, we love it. We love it. All right? So, it's the people that have the power to pull us through. And you people, by supporting the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, which a lot of us never thought would happen. And like Paul said, I can't repeat it because it's going to choke me up, but we might fade away. You people are helping keep us alive. That's important. So thank you from the 10th induction ceremony, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.